Hey everybody, I'm Chef Tom with atbbq.com, and this is Bacon Cornbread with black pepper honey. Well, the holiday season is quickly approaching with Thanksgiving just a few weeks away, and now that we've released multiple new turkey videos and our Dr. Pepper glazed ham, we're gonna move on this month to doing some holiday sides and desserts. So bust out that cast iron skillet because we're putting it to work this month, starting with our bacon cornbread. Now obviously bacon cornbread gonna have a savory element to it with that smoky, salty bacon inside the cornbread. But we're gonna top it off with a sweet and peppery black pepper honey that balances everything out really nicely. So let's get started by cooking off the bacon. We're gonna start with a pound of diced bacon, just classic cut, in the 12-inch Finex skillet, and cook it down till it's crispy. So bacon's looking good, gave it about 10 minutes to just cook down in its own fat here. At this point, we're gonna strain that fat off from the bacon. The bacon's going into the cornbread, and we're gonna use some of this bacon fat to grease the skillet. So now we're gonna start to put this cornbread batter together, starting by combining the dry ingredients. So we're gonna start with 1 3/4 cup of cornmeal, do a cup of all-purpose flour. We got 5 teaspoons of baking powder, and a teaspoon of kosher salt. Just give that a good whisk. And then in a separate bowl, we're gonna bring together our wet ingredients, and then we'll combine everything. We're gonna need 4 eggs today. Go ahead and give those a whisk to get them started. I'm gonna add about 1.5 cups of creamed style corn. This gives a really nice texture and plenty of moisture to the cornbread. Speaking of moisture, you've got another 1.5 cups of sour cream. And this is what makes this cornbread so dense and moist. We're gonna want a little bit of sweetness in here as well. So we're gonna do 1/4 cup of some Kansas wildflower honey. Get that honey whisked in there, and then we are going to combine our wets into our dries. And then as this starts to come together as a batter, we're going to add a little bit more fat in the form of butter. And I've melted the butter down, but I don't want it going in super hot, so I've let it kind of cool to room temperature where it's still liquid and should mix in nicely, but won't start to cook anything as soon as it gets in there. And we're just gonna gently bring all this together. And then last, we've got to get our bacon into the batter. And just fold that in. We're ready to transfer over to the skillet. So we've got that reserved bacon fat. We're going to add a tablespoon or 2 to the skillet, both for flavor and just to make sure that our skillet's greased. I don't even mind if there's a little bit extra in there. It's kind of nice when it just starts to fry the edges a little bit. We're gonna load in our batter. So again, we got some savory going on. There's a touch of sweetness from that honey, but really any sweetness we get is gonna be from the black pepper honey topping in the end. Otherwise, it really does shake out to be a fairly savory cornbread. So we're baking our cornbread today on the Yoder Smokers YS640S pellet grill, running it at 375 degrees with hickory pellets. We're gonna pop this right here on the top shelf, kind of over by the stack. The cornbread's been on for 45 minutes now, kind of giving it that jiggle test to see if the center is set. Now we're gonna go ahead and poke it with a toothpick and see if it comes out clean. So we can see how it's pretty well set all the way through to the center. If we insert our toothpick, comes out nice and clean. We're ready to pull cornbread off the grill. Now while the cornbread is cooling down, we're gonna put together our black pepper honey, which is very simply 3 parts by volume honey to 1 part black pepper. So we're gonna do 1 cup of our Kansas wildflower honey. I'm working in 1/3 of a cup of coarse ground black pepper, and this is actually a bourbon barrel smoked black pepper. A lot of fragrance going on in this thing. Black pepper, the honey, all of it, kind of fragrant ingredients anyway. The spice to the sweet is really nice. And it's not gonna blow out your taste buds or anything. It's just that black pepper kick. But the cornbread's had about 20 minutes to cool down. Still pretty warm, but should be sliceable at this point. Dig out a little side piece first here. Oh, nice browning. Just that little bit of that fried texture from that bacon grease that was on the side. But man, look at the middle, how soft that is. Still so warm. It wants to fall apart. Oh yeah, cooked all the way through, but not so far that we dried it out. That's ideal. I'm gonna give it the black pepper drizzle. Black pepper honey. And then we're gonna get a bite. Oh man. That's so good. With that honey on there, it's almost like corn pancakes. I mean, the cornbread itself really is savory. There's not a lot of sweetness to it. Getting the bacon in there for sure. But that black pepper honey on top is just magical. Sweetens it up. You got that peppery bite. It's not too spicy. It's just a nice little kick. But just look at how moist this is. All that cream corn, that sour cream that we put in there. Baking it just right, not overdoing it. This is how I like my cornbread. I don't even care if it's gonna fall apart on the way to my mouth. I'd rather have all that moisture in there. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to check out atbbq.com for all the products featured in today's video. If you enjoyed the recipe, hit that subscribe button. If you have any questions or comments, or there's anything you'd like to see me cook, let me know in the comment section down below, and let's be good to one another. For more recipes, tips, and techniques, head over to atbbq.com/thesauce. All things barbecue, where barbecue legends are made.